Pokemon V, and then of course it has that Drapion V for this matchup.
Beautiful. The Drapion V and the Sky Seal Stone combination, does a lot of work against these Mew decks. This sort of, counter box, hater box came out of the primordial soup of the metagame, piloted by Alex Kreckler, and then got a big regional win. And now we're just trying to counter the metagame once again. When things get a little bit too up in the air, sometimes you just want to make sure you have answers for everything. But Sackett's going to open us up with the Battle VIP Pass. 2 Genesect V already in play. This is going to get one more and maybe a Mew. And when you're the Mew player and you kind of basically know the Drapion's coming, is there any sort of changes you make to your game plan, or you're just trying to stick to your guns?
It's all about that Path to the Peak. That Stadium card is able to shut down abilities from Rulebox Pokemon. Drapion V is a Rulebox Pokemon and relies on that Wild Style ability to be able to attack for free against any deck with Fusion Strike, Single Strike, or Rapid Strike Pokemon. Granted, Fusion Strike Pokemon is the one we usually see around here the most, and of course, Mew VMAX is weak to Dark, so you're gonna really have to pick and choose what you're trying to, when you're trying to play around that card, because sometimes you just can't play around it. You have to hope that Alex just does not have it.
Got it. So with the attachment of the double turbo energy to the Mew V, really swag art, by the way. Sackett's just popping off, has the alternate art Mew VMAX as well, finds that with the Ultra Ball. Then Quick Ball actually gets rid of the Path to the Peak, so has to give up this important resource just for the sake of emptying the hand, drawing some cards, getting a much better setup. There's always the chance, right, that maybe that Drapion is in the prize cards, maybe I have a little bit more time than normal. When you have the Drapion V, you also have to ask yourself the question, do I want to greed, try to get the Sky Seal Stone combo in here to get more prizes, or do I want to just let the Wild Style rip?
And of course, there is another avenue. You can get that Aerodactyl V-Star and use its Ancient Star ability to shut down your opponent's Pokemon V abilities, which includes that Drapion V. It is a little bit more work to do, and yeah, we see here getting discarded with the Quick Ball. Not really the matchup you want to use it for, and still looking like a pretty glorious setup here.
I guess what Sackett's focusing on is just drawing a ton of cards, getting a very strong foundation, and has one Path to the Peak remaining. So once the rest of the deck is kind of up and running, I think maybe that second Path to the Peak is going to try to come down and stick, turn off the Drapion V, turn off some other threats, and it's just going to be a good, clean, pick up my prizes sort of game. But that's still a lot of ifs that need to come through for this game plan to work.
Ifs, ands, or buts. Doesn't really matter when your opponent has Drapion and a Sky Seal Stone to take 4 prizes off of VMAX.
Yeah, it's a huge, just insurmountable, way to come back from the list. This is still turn 1, right, by the way? So the Mew VMAX isn't going to come down right away. Genesect drawing back up to 6 now with the Fusion Strike system. Gets a switch, another Mew V into the active here. Keep that Genesect safe on the bench, and Cram-O-Matic finds a Tails. Can't search the deck for 1 card now, but you still empty the hand a little bit. 3 more cards with Genesect V. There's 1 more Fusion Strike system to be used.
These have not been good draws off of these Fusion Strike systems for Sackett. 2 Battle VIP Pass turn 1, but your bench is already full. Thankfully, had the Cram-O-Matic to discard that first one, but still the second one there in hand. Thankfully, the Mew VMAX in hand will be able to get things rolling next turn.
Yeah, Alex Schemanske, has the Vikavolt in this list, trying to go for the item lock against a lot of decks, but versus Mew, the strategy, the idea you're going for changes immensely. Lumineon V starting in the active, finds the Hisuian Heavy Ball, pulls the Ditto V out of the prizes that we saw earlier, Jeremy. So now this is on the bench. This is going to be offering a lot of utility to use that transformation ability to, kind of flex into whatever Pokemon V is needed at the time.
And that is just an energy to that Ditto V and a pass of the turn. No supporter card for Alex, nothing of note. And now it's Sackett's time to shine. Your opponent has a little bit of weakness in their hand, and we're going to start things off pretty insane. Yeah, wow, evolved a Genesect V into that Mew VMAX.
There it is, the evolution. Also just throws out 2 power tablets. Wants to draw more cards. Knows you don't really need the power tablets to get any big, far-reaching KOs like we see in the Lugia V-Star mirror, where you have to hit through V-Guard, etc. This is just going to be good, clean. I want to attack. I want to get these Pokemon V. And is Sackett on the Echoing Horn tech? I got to double check here.
No echoing horn here.
Okay.
Just relying on good old Pokemon that Alex plays down. And wow, a judge to start things off. So even though Alex had nothing in hand, we'll have a chance to get 4 more cards. And that could be very dangerous because this matchup is all about that Drapion V. If you're able to find it, that's 3 quick prizes. And from there, even though Sackett has the full setup, you're still going to be behind.
Yeah, so with the judge, Alex draws 4 new cards after shuffling the deck. If Sackett Brehmer does take the KO on the Lumineon V, Ditto V gets promoted to the active, then Alex just has to discard the Drapion to the discard pile, right? Uses the V transformation to bring it into the active, and maybe Sky Sealstone comes through. But what does come through is heads on the Crematic. Sackett's going to look through the deck now for a card of his choosing. And what is the missing piece here, Jeremy? Is there anything specific that Mew needs from this point?
Path to the peak. It needs to come down and stop that Drapion from even having a chance. And now would be the best time to do it with Alex down to 4 cards.
Judge Path, you know, it's the new wave. No more Marnie Path. We're also trying to counter Oranguru, trying to counter that Lost Box. Beautiful to see. Another attachment of the Forest Sealstone can still be used under Path to the Peak, which is fantastic. Means that Sackett's going to have access to 1 more additional card when the times get rough. Second Path to the Peak is found. This is his other copy. This really needs to stick to keep his momentum going and locked down. Back over to Alex. We're finally going to get eyes on the hand. Got Crobat, Radiant Greninja, Judge of his own.
Yeah, this was not a good hand from Alex, having to rely on the top 4 cards yet again off another Judge.
There's so many different arts of Judge. It's so sick to see it played because everybody seems to have their own favorite art that they run.
Or you could be like me and play all of them.
Ooh, swaggy. Okay, I see you, Jeremy. Flexing in GLC, you know about all the judges.
Yeah, the 1 card per deck thing. But
yeah, that you just rotate it out with your favorite Judge. Just roll a die.
Big 4 cards from Alex here.
Trekking shoes. Okay, a little bit more.
You need 2 cards at this point, and Alex is not able to find even just 1.
Dang, gets Zapdos.
All right, this Speed Lightning can still do something.
Drapion!
Is there a way to bump the stadium? I don't think there is.
Oh, man, just goes for the escape rope. He's going to promote the Zapdos to just buy a little bit of time, give up 1 prize.
We were so close to seeing a big knockout there, but that Path to the Peak sticking in play, saving that Mew VMAX from getting knocked out.
Yeah, so Alex has the Training Court and Lost Vacuum here to get rid of the Path to the Peak. Still a very tall order here. This is after 2 judges. Those cards could be anywhere. This is a list that wants to get set up, do its job of keeping your opponent from getting, into the game at all. It doesn't have a lot of search options to find those key pieces when they're most needed. But now that we're back over to Sackett, he's just doing Mew things. Draw a ton of cards with Fusion Strike system. Path to the Peak still chilling.
Well, no drawing cards with Path to the Peak in play.
True.
Has that boss's orders to bring up that Ditto V. That's another 2 prize knockout here. And this is that point in the game where even if that Drapion V comes down, it's not going to do much anything else because it's just going to get knocked out next turn with a damage modifier.
And yeah, exactly. It has to come down onto the bench now. It's so difficult to get these Pokemon out of the active, especially since Alex already used the escape rope. There's only 1 copy of that. Very tricky to get these Pokemon into the correct positions. And when you don't get the Drapion V and the Sky Sealstone combo against Mew, the deck doesn't really have any other adequate responses.
And I think we're probably going to see that here. Depending, no matter what Alex draws, it's going to be a tall order to actually get those 6 prizes before Sackett just takes the knockout on that Drapion.
2 more prizes. Scoop up net
are we
on the
see
Zapdos.
Double scoop up net. Yes! Let's go, Alex. Way to do it for everyone at home. Thank you, Alex Schemanske.
The honorable Sudoku, the double scoop up net. Just gonna say, let's do a fancy scoop up to head to the next game, and you shuffle the cards and try again. If you play this matchup over and over again, it's only a matter of time before the Drapion V and the Sky Sealstone activates, comes together for that big 4 prize combo. But you can see the players are having a really great time. This is the sort of play that kind of lightens the mood and is going to allow these players to kind of go a little bit further, especially when they're trying to lock up that top 8 spot. They're under a lot of pressure. This is a great way to relieve that stress.
At least for Sackett. Alex is even more stressed now. This is a matchup where it's the same match that we've had in the finals of San Diego Regionals, the Mew versus the Vikavolt, and it's really going to come down to that Drapion. And being down 1-0, your deck's kind of a little inconsistent. There's a very toolbox aspect to it, so sometimes you don't get those cards drawn in the right order, and that's what happened game 1. And Sackett just a beautiful 3 turns of that match, setting up everything that he possibly could.
It was a pretty daring gambit, honestly. Discarded the Aerodactyl V-Star and one Path to the Peak. Just relied on that second copy to come through and lock down. Very daring, and it paid off. We'll see if he wants to, you know, fly a little bit closer to the sun in game number 2. Maybe go down to a single path or rely on Aerodactyl V-Star to lock up the Drapion instead. But as we look at the prize cards, 2 scoop up nets going into the prizes. No more shenanigans there. Radiant Greninja also being out of the running. So we've got Vikavolt starting in the active spot. Speed, Lightning, Energy to draw 2 more. There's a Sui and Heavy Ball. Means that we can get the Radiant Greninja for a little bit more card draw here.
Yeah, and Alex's hand is actually pretty stellar, especially compared to last game. Has the Radiant Greninja from the prize cards, has a Battle VIP pass in hand, as well as that Drapion V. So things are looking pretty nice. I don't think I see a supporter for next turn, so hopefully this concealed cards can find one off the top.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikavolt isn't going to be taking big knockouts, but still an item lock. And if you can keep Mew down, you know, Cryomatics, etc., they have to rely purely on Genesect, maybe drawing 1 card, drawing 2 cards. Battle VIP pass also really putting the icing on the cake for this turn. Finds Mew, that Celebrations Mew with Mysterious Tail. Going to offer a lot of utility in the early mid-game. I talked about how this deck struggles to find the cards it needs at the right time, and Mysterious Tail is the way to do it.
Yeah, interesting enough, Alex just got the 1 Mew off that Battle VIP pass. Didn't really need much anything else on the bench, and here we go, concealed cards, hopefully finding something for the next turn.
That's the Drapion.
Double quick ball off the concealed cards. Already had the Drapion in hand.
Oh, I see. It had a little shuffle there of the hand.
And yeah, that hand's actually not looking very good. It's going to have to rely on something like Luminion V or Crobat V next turn. But if a Path to the Peak comes down, I don't know if you're going to be able to do that.
Very spooky.
Meanwhile, this hand for Sackett, it's not the best. You have that quick ball to find that Mew V if you want. You could find another Genesect if you want, but that's not really what you want to be doing. And then might have to rely off of a Judge just to try to find something like Battle VIP Pass or something.
And back in game number 1, that's what Alex had to do. You know, really bad hand, really clunky start, had to use the Judge just to find something. It's much better to be already established on board, use that Judge to disrupt the opponent instead. Sackett's under a lot of pressure here because if this turn doesn't pop off, you are going to have a much harder time making anything happen once that Paralyzing Bolt comes through. After searching through the deck, Sackett decides on the Mew V. So this is going to be 2 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play, a couple more cards enabled, hopefully. What else we got in the hand? Double Turbo Energy to attach return. Yeah, I think I did see the Path to the Peak there. Okay.
But you can't play that down. You need to draw some cards with Fusion Strike System, and hopefully you just draw into it later on. Here's the Judge, and it's going to have 4 cards for each player now, and Sackett's going to need some help off the top of the deck for sure.
Yeah, Alex is losing out on that Drapion V, getting shuffled back into the deck. Losing out on the quick ball, so that means no access to the Luminion. These 4 cards have to be really big for him so that he can solidify his momentum, solidify his position, and keep himself in this best of 3. 4 cards over to Sackett now.
Oh, double Battle VIP Pass. Exactly how you draw it up.
Mamma mia! Battle VIP Pass. These coming through on turn 1, coming through before the Paralyzing Bolt. This is the perfect timing. The Genesect Vs are all going to join the army along with another Mew V. The setup's going to be complete, and now things are going back over to Alex, and now it's do or die for him. If he misses out on the timing to get a big knockout or at least get the Paralyzing Bolt through, at this point, it's going to be too late, right? With all of this card draw, means that Sackett's going to have an easy time finding the Path to the Peak, and then all of the hopes might go down.
Well, hopefully, Alex drew a little bit better. Remember, that hand was just a bunch of Pokemon and Pokemon Search. So the judge actually helping out Alex as well. I think we saw at least an energy. You can get concealed cards, Melanie along with it. And meanwhile, Sackett will just have to go through his turn like normal. You finally got that full bench, and now you just need to clear your hand out of the cards you don't need. Get that Paths of the Peak in play at the end of the turn. Make sure you have that Mew VMAX.
Discards Quick Ball, finds the heads. It's great. So good. Mew can get so much value down on one turn before they get item locked, before the Drapion becomes a threat. It gives them so much resiliency, even when those big combos come through. And because there's no Mew VMAX in play, Alex doesn't necessarily even want to go for the Drapion V immediately. And if you take that time to say, okay, I need to wait for the Mew VMAX to come, I need to wait for my Sky Seal Stone to absolutely make sure I'm taking 4 prizes to get massively ahead in this game, it gives Sackett another opportunity to just slam a judge, shuffle those cards right back in if you've got one half of your combo. Switch is found. Mew V comes to the active. Genesect back onto the bench. Very similar to what we saw in game number 1. 2 cards off of Fusion Strike system.
Okay, I was very wrong on Alex's hand. There's no Melanie. I think it was a cross switcher that I saw.
Okay.
But there is a water energy, so he'll have the option of either concealed cards, Hope and Pray, or just attach and paralyzing bolt. But it's going to be dependent on how Sackett plays out the rest of this turn. And with that Mew V in the active spot, that's a free retreater that you can pivot out and take the knockout with the Mew VMAX later on.
After the final Fusion Strike system is used, Sackett just is going to slam down this Path to the Peak and pass things over. And now it's over to Alex. Oh, wait. Oh, he's still not done, Jeremy. You got a Rotom phone.
Might as well use those item cards while you can. If your opponent is going to Paralyzing Bolt, that means you won't be able to play them. So get them out of your hand, get them out of your deck. Make sure you can set yourself up for the best possible scenario for the next turn.
So after this shuffle, we're going to put the chosen card back on top. So and the only way to counter this, of course, would be with Judge. Shuffle that back in, but the Fusion Strike systems were already used, so this doesn't seem to really be a super important card that Sackett wants. Again, just getting value out of the Rotom phone before it's too late. Path to the Peak finally comes down. It's over to Alex. There's the draw. Water energy in
rolling
hand.
The draw for sure. Speed Lightning energy is actually pretty good. That means you're able to discard the water with concealed cards and see 2 more cards off of this Speed Lightning. Luminion is found, but you can't play that down.
Aerodactyl V hitting the board. We talked about how Ancient Star could be used to turn off some abilities, so that means we can maybe get these Fusion Strike systems out of the way. We have to get around this Path to the Peak, however, before that comes through, and it's just a bench and a pass. Doesn't go for the concealed cards, wants to keep this water energy. So now it's over to Sackett, evolves into Mew VMAX. Kind of evaluating the situation here. At least with the Path to the Peak, there is no more Fusion Strike systems, but Sackett's hand looks to be all ready to go. Double Turbo Energy's already attached to the VMAX.
Yeah, a little awkward here that Sackett does not have a damage modifier in Choice Belt or Power Tablet to be able to take the one-hit knockout on the Vikavolt, so he's going to have to find it with the Judge here. But that's, again, going to give Alex another chance at trying to bump this Path to the Peak and try to get things going with that Drapion.
Every time you play the Judge, it's a double-edged sword, and every time it gives your opponent an out into something incredibly devastating, especially with this Mew VMAX now in play. Alex needs to draw into the Drapion. He needs to get the Sky Seal Stone, and then a way to get rid of this Path to the Peak. Once again, there's one Training Court, one Lost Vacuum in the list that can get rid of the stadium.
And it's actually... my bad. You can't even play the Power Tablet or Choice Belt because of the Paralyzing Bolt, so will not have the knockout here. And that is just 190 damage with that Technoblast.
Yeah, the item lock coming in a little bit clutch for Alex, buying a little bit of time, keeping this Vikavolt alive, denying 2 prizes to the opponent. Quick Ball discards a Quick Ball. Drapion V's in there, sees the Aerodactyl V-Star, just keeping track of these resources. What's even left in the deck? What can I employ here in the 11th hour?
I'm pretty sure the rest of the deck is left in the deck. Alex has not really gotten a chance to play too many cards here in this game 2 and game 1, honestly.
Yeah, just, again, taking a look here, just reminding himself what's in the prizes. Those 2 scoop-up nets are still in there. You lose out on a lot of utility with the concealed cards. Alex decides to pick up the Crobat V. Not going to have any abilities because of the Path to the Peak. And let me tell you, I've made that mistake before, Jeremy.
Yeah, even shutting off the Radiant
Crobat.
Greninja, too. It has really just been slowing down Alex's deck. Is going to have to rely on this Melanie here to try to get things going off the top 3.
So puts the Water Energy on the Aerodactyl V and draws 3. Gets Forest Seal Stone.
Lost Vacuum as well. So 2 different ways to try to hunt down that replacement stadium.
Third Speed Lightning. Yeah, just confirming the Water Energy was attached by Melanie, so this is still a legit attach for the turn. 2 more cards. Luminion found. No abilities, though. Path to the Peak so devastating. Lost Vacuum has to be the first order of business.
Yeah, going to be able to force Sealstone out of it as well.
And we have the choice here, right? If you have to use the Forest Sealstone, then you can't use the Sky Sealstone ability. And you can see there's so much riding on this turn for Alex. Every time he's about to make a play, there's a bit of hesitancy there.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing the Sky Sealstone maybe fetch out that Drapion V. You can Lost Vacuum the Path to the Peak and then retreat with those 3 Speed Lightnings to take the knockout on the Mew VMAX. But it's a lot of resources to burn, and we see here just the Paralyzing Bolt to pass the turn.
Yeah, the damage reduced because of Oricorio, just 30 cheeky damage, and hopefully this item lock can buy Alex just a little bit more time, even without the power tablet. It's just about retreating, getting around that Techno Blast, and just taking the knockout. Oh, it just passes.
Wow, yeah, did not have the second Mew VMAX to continue the damage, and now Alex has a little bit of breathing room here. Left the Path to the Peak in play on purpose because it is shutting down those Fusion Strike systems from Genesect. And now Alex can kind of play the game by his pace.
And decides to go for the Super Zap Cannon, taking 2 prizes, is probably looking for these scoop up nets. If you get rid of the Path to the Peak, you can use those immediately to use your concealed cards, hopefully see a little bit more of the deck. And now with the Mew V down, 2 prizes for Alex Schemanske, 1/3 of the way. Closing out the second game. Sackett now just promotes the Mew VMAX.
Finally can play all those item cards in hand.
So now this is going to be a beautiful pop-off turn. Has the boss's orders, going to bring up the Aerodactyl V. Doesn't want to worry about the V-Star, but this is also getting the Forest Seal Stone out of play. Alex's deck only runs 1 copy. Power Tablet also being employed to open up 1 more slot in the hand. Takes the knockout. Just needed a little bit of an extra boost. Doesn't want to draw anymore. The Path to the Peak is still there.
A little bit risky, though, because if Alex has a way to find that Drapion and Sky Sealstone can finish the game off here.
So there is Melanie number 2. There's an attachment to Vikavolt. Draws 3 cards. Picks up Mew Mysterious Tail, a Speed Lightning that can be attached. This is the 4th one for 2 cards.
A lot of looks at it. Still no Sky Sealstone.
Unbelievable. I got to double check the list. If I didn't already see the Drapion, I wouldn't believe it was in the list.
Going to have to rely on this Mysterious Tail. Does not find it, but Scoop Up Net has another chance. I think there's another Mew in hand. You also can bump that Path to the Peak and then try to concealed cards, try to find it that way. But if you do that and miss it, you're just giving your opponent their abilities back.
It's a lot of thinning. At this point, I think it doesn't even matter if your opponent has abilities or not. You've got to get your strategy through. And after that Scoop Up Net, we get another Mysterious Tail.
Sky Seal Stone needed off these top 6. Does not find
Finds the trekking shoes. Oh my goodness, this is so much riding on these little draws here and there. Alex is trying to squeeze water out of a stone. This deck, again, not really known for its ability to search for the cards it needs when it needs them, is getting every ounce of value out of Mysterious Tail. Maybe even puts down the energy search to thin. No, just goes for trekking shoes off the top. We can save this card or look for another. Gets rid of boss's orders and 1 more draw into a Water Energy. Scoop Up Net on the Mysterious Tail once more. Vikavolt goes into the active. Not going to pull the trigger on getting rid of the Path to the Peak this turn to set up the the concealed cards. Just goes for the item lock. Is going to try to slow this game down as much as possible with 4 prizes remaining. If Alex can get the Drapion and the Stone, he can close it out.
Another pass, no way to reset that Mew VMAX, and now we see an escape rope. This is going to allow Mew to get back into the active, use Mysterious Tail again, and we already know Alex has multiple cross switcher in hand. That's just another chance to use Mysterious Tail. You can bring up the Mew VMAX. Where is that Sky Seal Stone?
Trekking Shoes, still a fantastic option. Picks it up. Oh my goodness. How many cards are in the deck? The hand and the deck are the same size. Somebody's crunching the numbers here. Trekking Shoes to look at the top card of the deck. You can choose to discard that card and draw a second one if you don't like it. So this is still a lot of resources being used. Do we have any ways to maybe use the second Mysterious Tail after Sackett shuffles and cuts the deck and sends it back? His fate is on the line as well. Energy Search, no.
Found it off the top. Alex
Sky
has it.
Seal Stone!
What an amazing draw here. Now can Ultra Ball for that Drapion V, has the Sky Seal Stone double cross switcher in hand, and finally Star Order will allow Alex to get 4 prize cards off that Mew VMAX.
Drapion V, Sky Seal Stone, Lost Vacuum to Lost Zone 1 card from the hand to Lost Zone the Path to the Peak. Abilities are back online. Wild Style comes through with the cross switcher. 4 prizes in 1 turn. Alex hangs on by a thread. Game number 3 to lock in top 8.
I am ecstatic that we finally had a game like that compared to the game number 1. Now they are going into game 3, winning in for top 8, trying to make it there and trying to become Knoxville regional champion.
This game came down to the wire. Alex had to take that risk of keeping that path to the peak in play. So that, you know, he knew that it was slowing down Sackett Brehmer. He knew that it was locking down those fusion strike systems. There wasn't a way to really convert or nudge the position towards a bigger deficit. And Alex was able to just buy time, even throughout the Aerodactyl and the Forest Seal Stone. And what I could maybe cope and say was a little bit of a bait, maybe. Here, take this Pokemon V. Take
100%. It's
because
like,
I want the Sky Seal Stone. Had a laser focus on that combo and managed to pull it off right at the very end.
What a game. For my first time at least seeing Star Order being used for the 4 prizes on stream, and you love to see it. Crown Zenith finally making an impact.
The Sky Seal Stone, such a crazy card. When Drapion V was first introduced, players thought that this card alone would be able to bully Mew out of the metagame. But it's like, but what if I take 4 prizes? That's how far you've got to push it in order to give yourself a really ridiculous Mew matchup. As we get into game number 3, the prize cards are going to be so pivotal. If the Aerodactyl V-Star, the Drapion, the Sky Seal Stone end up in the prizes, things get so awkward. After a Destiny Shuffle, Lost Vacuum.
No. Lost Vacuum in the prizes. Ditto could also be a big one in the prizes as well. Meanwhile, for Sackett, nothing too bad. The double turbo energy, but
things
I don't
are
think
pretty
the game's going to go
balanced.
pretty late.
And Alex actually starting off the Galarian Zigzagoon in the active. Another pretty awkward start with the Lost Vacuum being in the prize cards. That means that Alex is out against Path to the Peak is Training Court.
Yeah, and that's the only out. And you're not really able to search for that through something like Mysterious Tail. You can only grab an item card. Training Court is a stadium.
Oh, that's going to be even harder to fish up. Power Tablet being used on this turn. Just to clear some hand.
Discarding a Path to the Peak with Ultra Ball here, just trying to get things set up, really hoping to keep that Mew VMAX in hand for next turn.
And we saw this in game number 1. Sackett got rid of 1 Path to the Peak, got rid of the Aerodactyl idea to lock down the Drapion V's ability, and the second Path to the Peak stuck. After that game number 2, seeing how the Path to the Peak's presence really harmed his own abilities to close out the game quickly before that combo came through, there's a lot of adaptations that could happen in this game 3, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see it off of these 2 cards if Sackett can even get things going turn 1. Really hoping to find another Battle VIP pass like the previous 2 games.
Just a little bit of draw goes a long way. Gets another Genesect V, draws 2 more. This could be a Battle VIP pass, something very explosive. Gets another Mew V, and might be it. No, power tablet, second one. Okay, let's go.
Just playing it down to draw some more cards. You need it here.
Yeah, still babying the Mew VMAX that's in the hand. Wants to save that.
Wow.
Gets the second path to the peak and the Battle VIP pass.
That is insane. Now you're going to be able to draw until you have 6 cards. You have the Mew VMAX for next turn, path to the peak for this turn. Now all that you're missing is that double turbo energy to get things going.
And it's going to, once this Battle VIP pass comes through, the Genesect Vs also hit the bench. We're going to get another Fusion Strike system. Very high chances of getting that card. Also picking up the Oricorio. It did a lot of work in game number 2 to slow down that paralyzing bolt, slowly but surely whittling away at some of the Pokemon in play. Now with the bench full, this does mean that Sackett isn't going to be relying on Aerodactyl V into V-Star. It's all about this second path to the peak that's in the hand to keep the Drapion V and its wild style ability under control.
We're going to see 3 cards here from the last Fusion Strike system. Double Turbo is going to be a very big draw. We don't see it, but we see a Cramomatic and a Rotom Phone, so technically 2 chances to try to find it here.
Tails on the Cramomatic. There's no more Fusion Strike systems to use even after lowering the hand. Goes for the Rotom Phone now to just set up a card for next turn. Looks at the top 5.
Does not find a double turbo energy off the top 5 here. So at least with the way the hand is laid out, Sackett not able to attack next turn if the path to the peak sticks in play.
And if you leave that door open for the opponent, right, you keep the path in your hand so that you can use your Fusion Strike systems next turn to actually get your attacks online. It means that Alex is going to have access to Radiant Greninja, to draw a lot of cards. The idea was there for Alex, just the path of the peak, cut that right out from under him. He couldn't just keep cycling through the deck with the concealed cards over and over again, looking for those scoop-up nets. Finally makes the choice here, place a card on top after the shuffle. Did you see what card he picked?
Boss's Orders.
Okay.
It was the best out of the 5, but it was the best of the worst. There was a couple Battle VIP pass, a Power Tablet, stuff like that, and you were not really doing much with that hand, especially if Alex has a pretty amazing turn 2 to get that paralyzing bolt off.
And if worse comes to worse, maybe we can boss something up that's awkward for Alex, and, you know, boss and pray is the poor man's path to the peak.
Well, just a pass of the turn means no path to the peak in play, and Alex has full use of any rule box Pokemon that he so chooses this turn, and we might see a pretty pop-off turn from Alex here.
Energy Search, going to pick up that water energy, looks like it's being eyeballed, and just taking a look through the list is going to see the Ditto V, the Raikou V in the prize cards. Is also going to take note of that Lost Vacuum for sure.
Raikou is another attacker that's pretty good in being able to just get those 2 prizes before you Sky Seal Stone with that Drapion.
Yeah, because of the Lightning Rondo, getting extra damage based on your opponent's bench, and Mew V loves to fill up its bench. Remember back in the day with Suicune V, was still playing very well with the Ludicolo, abusing like these full bench decks, and so we get a little bit of shade of that here with now the Lightning variation. Finds Vikavolt off of a quick ball, gets rid of that water energy that was just discarded, putting that in the discard pile to set up for Melanie in a later turn.
Which I believe he has Melanie in hand.
Oh, he's going to do it right now. Let's go. Okay.
Yeah,
Melanie.
Be pretty wonderful here. Exactly what you want to see. Now, hopefully, a Speed Lightning off the top so you can draw even more cards, get that Paralyzing Bolt set up, and then I think a Scoop Up in hand will allow just that, and wow.
Speed Lightning! Okay, what a hero. Speed Lightning attached to the Vikavolt, draws 2 more cards. Drapion V found.
This is not looking good for Sackett here.
Ultra Ball discards another water energy, has to find something else to get rid of, decides to ditch the Aerodactyl V. Knows that when you want to use your V-Star power for this game, it's not going to be Ancient Star. It's going to be Star Order. Finds Mew. The Mysterious Tail did so much heavy lifting in game number 2. It's going to need to come through here to find the rest of the pieces of the puzzle with Drapion V now in the hand. You don't want to risk benching that right away. It needs to be a full, just dynamic combo that happens all at once. Scoop Up Net puts Galarian Zigzagoon back into the hand. Could see the promotion of the Mew here.
Yeah, if you do the Mew, you're kind of forced to use that second Scoop Up Net in hand, and That's not something you really want to be doing. Might as well just get that paralyzing bolt off right away. And yeah, Sackett thankfully did not play that Path to the Peak down, so was able to draw out of this hand.
The item lock makes it very difficult for MuV to empty the hand down for consecutive fusion strike systems. So just uses the 1 to top off the hand to 6 cards, has the Judge, needs these 4 cards to have a double turbo energy.
Yep, that is the name of the game. And again, no choice belt down on turn 1, so this Vikavolt is sticking around guaranteed for at least this turn. The Technoblast with the double turbo energy, not enough to take the knockout due to that damage reduction.
Yeah, the shift to the double turbo energy does give this deck a little bit of, acceleration, where you can just attack right away. You don't have to rely on Ellis' Sparkle as your supporter for the turn. But again, you aren't hitting those numbers as consistently. So it's huge in this Vikavolt deck.
Found the double turbo energy off the Judge, and now is able to kind of just set up for the next turn here, maybe even trying to find that Path to the Peak that was shuffled back in.
So after that's all said and done, there's really, again, no way to lower the hand. It's just going to promote the Mew VMAX. Can just do a little bit of damage to the Vikavolt, and now that this is in the active, this probably signals that Sackett might want to play the Path to the Peak, but no.
And we see...
Is that glistening droplets?
No, that is the Psychic Leap.
Okay.
They both do the same amount of damage because of the double turbo energy, but Sackett just learning from last game saying, wow, yeah, if I just Technoblast every turn, I'm going to have those turns where I need to get back to the bench, get the other Mew VMAX, and under item lock, that's a lot harder to do. So going with the chip damage here and hoping to clean up with a Technoblast on the following turn.
So has the Melanie to draw 3 cards, decides to bench the Drapion V.
Yeah,
Wildstyle is obviously active. There's no Path to the Peak in play. Mew VMAX is a sitting duck in the active spot, but the rest of the pieces still need to come through. We've got Radiant Greninja in the hand and a Water Energy to draw 2 more. We've got to find the Sky Seal Stone.
Yeah, Sky Seal Stone does have the escape rope to get out of the active spot.
Yeah, the Vikavolt V has a retreat cost of
3.
Yeah, so
it's a heavy Pokemon.
It's weird to see a lightning Pokemon with such a heavy retreat cost because they typically are trying to be a bit more agile, but because of the item lock, you have a trade-off there where I'm locking my opponent down from doing stuff, but it also means I'm a little bit worse for wear, being able to shift into the Pokemon that I want. So Mew comes into the active spot instead. Mysterious Tail goes through a lot of great options here in the hand, but not what we're looking for specifically.
Does have the 1 cross switcher in hand. Alex was hoping to find the second one to bring back up that Mew VMAX and take the knockout with that Drapion. Unfortunately, while there is 5 items in the top 6, it is not a cross switcher for Alex.
Opts for the Air Balloon. This is a great card to put onto the Mew V. Gives you a nice pivot so you can get that Mysterious Tail up and running every turn. Is going for this right now instead of the Trekking Shoes, just because this is just going to make the rest of your turns a much higher quality going forward. And then we can obviously just manual retreat from the Mew back into the Vikavolt, get the item lock back up and running.
Now, Alex does have the chance to concealed cards if he chooses to, but the energy is also a little bit of a resource here.
There's concealed cards, 2 more off the top. Quick ball, and I didn't see the second card.
Speed lightning energy, so that's all right. I believe the Melanie was played off on the Drapion, so speed lightning able to draw 2 cards here. Is there
Scoop Up Net?
There's the Training Court, though, which is a pretty big card. And
that is huge.
We're just going to see Alex retreat, keep the paralyzing bolt train going.
And with the Training Court in hand, this is still pretty risky because, Sackett could go Path Judge, and this is going to get shuffled back into the deck. Drapion is also put onto the bench without that combo popping off. So Sackett just going to go for the Judge here. Because of item lock, it is pretty hard for Sackett to kind of hunt this down. So having to take the risk there. Get your big winner onto the bench. It's not going to get KO'd here. Judge is the disruptive answer. Alex loses out on the Training Court now. That's going to be shuffled back into the list. And what exactly is Sackett Brehmer hoping to draw?
Cards. Pokemon cards.
Oh, yeah.
You have the knockout already with your Mew VMAX on the bench. You're going to need another Mew VMAX and a double turbo energy to just continue that for the following turn. And then that path to the peak is going to be the biggest one. Only one copy left in the deck with the discard turn 1. And we'll have to see if these Fusion Strike systems will be able to help Sackett out here.
There's the draw. And after the judge, we got to remember that Path to the Peak is also going to be shuffled back into the deck. So decides to pull down the Lost City this turn, just to narrow the hand a little bit further.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the only card Sackett could actually play from the hand to thin it down. So stalling a little bit here, just because of that Paralyzing Bolt, not able to play down those item cards, but does get the knockout.
So 2 prizes over to Sackett. Even if you do, even if you're unable to use your items, just drawing cards from the prize is still very important. And now the Air Balloon and the Mew going to be really popping off here. You can promote this for free. Now is a free retreat cost. Training Court bumps the Lost City. This is the only out versus Path of the Peak, and it's being employed right now. This means that Alex absolutely needs to get the Wild Style combo off this turn.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see it. It is at least 3 free prizes with that Drapion V. Now you have to worry about knocking out that last Mew VMAX. You do have the Vikavolt V, and with Super Zap Cannon you do 190. That's still not going to be enough, the damage reduction from the Oricorio, and you're going to basically have to attack it twice. Maybe something like that Ditto V can get in there if you can find the Hisuian Heavy Ball.
Do you think that Alex is going to have a realistic chance if he just takes 3 prizes, or are you going to need that 4th prize with the Sky Seal Stone?
It's still realistic to take it. It's immensely better if you can find that Sky Seal Stone, because then you could just take a knockout on a Genesect V on the bench. That's a lot easier to do than a Mew VMAX that has the opportunity to shuffle itself back in with Psychic Leap as well.
And with access to Mysterious Tail and maybe concealed cards in the future, finding those cross switchers, it becomes a much easier time. But after the judge, Alex needs these 4 cards to be huge. Speed Lightning, Scoop Up Net, Cross Switcher, Quick Ball.
That's not bad.
So we have the manual attachment for this turn still, right?
I think the
lightning
went
was
to
attached.
the Vikavolt. Yeah.
That is correct. So just discards the Speed Lightning with Radiant Greninja, finds Mew, Scoop Up Nets, Radiant Greninja to rebench, resets the concealed cards, use Quick Ball to get rid of Zapdos. Going to look through the deck here.
We get to see Crobat V, Dark Asset, the ability to draw until you have 6 cards in hand by playing it on the bench. We haven't seen this at all just because Path to the Peak has been so important in this match, but Crobat is one of the best ways to continue your turn and try to find those cards that you need.
So we Crobat V. Do we Crobat V first? Yes. And then we also have options for Training Court to get an energy back to concealed cards again. So after the shuffle here, Dark Asset for 5.
Still looking for that Sky Seal Stone.
So back up to 6 cards in hand. Marnie can't be played this turn. We've got an energy in hand. Discards that fighting energy. 2 more cards with concealed cards.
Yeah, and they're just clarifying the Scoop Up Net did happen, but the concealed cards wasn't used for the 2nd time. So those are the extra 2 cards that Alex has. Now, Mysterious Tail finds one of those stones, but it's a Forest Seal Stone.
Trekking Shoes once again in game number 2. He's got to go for a walk. He's got to climb this mountain, put on the good shoes at the top. At the end of this path is going to be maybe another pair of trekking shoes. Maybe it's a Sky Seal Stone. A lot is riding on this turn. The difference between 3 prizes and 4 prizes.
Yeah, it seems like Alex is walking 500 miles to try to get to that star order here.
And Trekking Shoes looks at the top card. Scoop Up Net.
That's actually pretty good here because you can retreat to the Mew, get another Mysterious Tail off.
Mysterious Tail.
Forest Seal Stone yet again. No, where is that Sky Seal Stone?
Oh, just decides to pick up the Forest Seal Stone, just get it out of the deck, thin it, just attach it somewhere. He's going to have to walk 500 more, Jeremy.
All right, this Scoop Up Net is going to have to put in a ton of work here. And I believe Alex has already retreated for the turn.
Yeah, that was a retreat into this second Celebrations Mew. We can scoop up the Radiant Greninja again and then use Mysterious Cards to draw 2 more.
If you do that, though, do you have the
But then we can't get the Drapion into the active.
Yeah.
Looking at both players' resources now, this is where things get really dire. There's 5 minutes left on the clock. Decides to go for Scoop Up Net, just to bring the Vikavolt back up into the active. I can't take that big knockout here, but I'm just going to go for Paralyzing Bolt, try to shut things down. This is so... Oh, this is... If Sackett gets Path to the Peak here, Alex is not going to be able to get rid of it in the wild style. Second Lost City.
That means no Path to the Peak for this turn, so the Drapion V still able to hold on a little bit, but now you have to worry the boss's orders in hand is going to be able to bring it up and remove it from play, but no item cards being played means you can't even do that. You don't have enough damage.
With no power tablets, it's been such a saving grace for Alex in this matchup. Sackett decides to bring up the Crobat V, a little bit less HP, a little bit easier time getting some prizes. He needs resources. Sackett gets set up consistently in both of these games, but has been struggling to keep on offensive pressure.
He didn't find the double turbo energy.
Quick Ball is the draw for turn. We have Speed Lightning in hand. That can be a manual attachment for 2. We've got Radiant Greninja's concealed cards for 2 more. Cross Switchers found. Aerodactyl V-Star found. The hand is enormous, but they aren't the pieces that we need. Crobat V, regardless, is going to be stuck in the active. Quick Ball to discard. We're looking through the list. Luminion
that
being
can help thin
here.
Down just a little bit more.
Luminion into Melanie.
So the route is double cross switcher, bring up that Mew VMAX on the bench. You bring up your own Mew with the air balloon. That will allow you to look at the top 6 cards. And if Alex can thin the deck down enough to where you just have 6 cards left, that is the Sky Seal Stone.
And Sackett's got a shuffle here. His fate is also riding on Alex Schemanski's draw here. We're going to perhaps find a way to get this Mew's Mysterious Tail into the active. Is looking at the cross-switcher play now. Cross-switching into the Mew to use Mysterious Tail maybe as an in-between play to see a little bit more of the deck. Here comes the cross-switchers.
I think we're going to see cross-switcher bring up... Oh, Genesect here.
Into the Mysterious Tail.
Does not find the Sky Seal Stone.
Finds a Scoop Up Net, however. This can potentially just be used with the Radiant Greninja. The deck is so thin, we can't find the stone.
I think I see the Alex is basically playing around Roxanne here.
Okay.
You're going to be able to take 2. Well, not even. You don't take the knockout with the Super Zap Cannon because of the Oricorio. So we're just going to see Paralyzing Bolt. Sackett did not have the double turbo in hand.
This is every time Alex fails to put this combo together, things
just the pass of the turn.
There's no path. There's nothing to stop this from just taking the game away. How could this come down to such a noodle fight at the end? Alex, please draw the card.
2 minutes left. Just Paralyzing Bolt yet again, yet again. Are you going to be able to take the knockout with Paralyzing Bolt here? No double turbo energy off of the top 5 cards from Sackett here. Not able to thin the hand down and continue to draw. It's basically like there's a Path to the Peak in play already.
Alex is making Mew look like a Lost Box deck. the lack of items is not only keeping it from thinning the hand down for Genesect, it's also keeping the damage under control because of no power tablet.
We do see a double turbo energy in hand for Sackett, but if you retreat, you don't even take the knockout against the Vikavolt, you're just going to be doing 110 damage.
Double turbo, attach, retreat. Mew VMAX comes up into the active. Is he just going to take his damage now and pray?
Probably Max Miracle. Yep.
Max Miracle just deals 130 damage, still reduced by the double turbo, 110. It's back over to Alex. You've gotten so many extra turns to make it happen. Let us see it.
1 minute left here on the clock, and things are winding down now.
4 cards left in the deck. 25% chance to hit this Sky Seal Stone. That's guaranteed on Mysterious Tail.
I think Alex is still just trying to find a way to get that Genesect V knocked out so you can finish things off with that Sky Seal Stone.
And I think at this point, you have to do the Drapion first, right? Because every turn you wait, there's a chance that that Path to the Peak is going to come, and you lose out on that 4-prize combo. And with the deck running thin, if Sackett's able to kind of just buy time, keep you from actually finishing the game, you're going to deck out.
I think
Goes
we're
for
going to see...
Luminion, finds the boss's orders.
Yep, boss's orders, bring up that Genesect V and try to take the knockout in 3 turns with Paralyzing Bolt, it seems.
20 seconds left, 15 seconds left. You've got to make a decision, Alex. We're going to be in a turn 0 situation. You need a couple turns to get your knockouts that you're looking for.
Come on, announce your attack. You need a boss's orders announced. Time's running down, the crowd is going crazy.
No, Alex! It's at this point where there's so much pressure on, you get paralyzed by the implications and the pressure on every single one of your plays. No more time left in the round. Alex Schemanske with 6 prizes left, has the Drapion V on the bench, has a damaged Genesect as well on Sackett's side. The prize map is there, he just needs to execute. Boss's orders to bring up the damaged Genesect V. Is it going to be a Super Zap Cannon? It's got to be Paralyzing Bolt.
Yeah, that opens up the possibility to boss's orders and power tablet the Drapion V. And here we go. Paralyzing
Unbelievable
Bolt,
that after all of this deck search, there's 3 cards and the Sky Seal Stone is still in the deck.
I have to feel if Alex could have taken a different route these past couple of turns, but now it's all in on this Vikavolt in the active spot.
At this point, it's like, okay, you kick yourself? Am I just going to draw? Yeah, should I have taken the 3 prizes? This is the sort of questions that players have to save until after the game. You can't start trying to retrace your steps. You have to focus on the situation you're in right now to get into the top 8. Judge comes through for Sackett. That enormous hand now being shuffled back into the deck, and the chances of getting that Sky Seal Stone now are very, very low. When he whittled it down all the way to a 33%.
Yep. Now there's one hope for Alex. Or actually, no, you have 1 turn left in this match. Sometimes players will have an agreement if you kind of are winning on the board.
Yeah, so even if it pops off, you take 4 prizes here. You already used 1 set of cross switchers much earlier in the game.
There is still the option to have a Galarian Zigzagoon that can help clean up the Genesect V with a Paralyzing Bolt. But again, that's not going to really do it here.
Absolutely unbelievable. Sackett didn't have the Path to the Peak in play.
Turn 2 now. This is Alex's last turn of the match. Can he show enough to Sackett?
Heavy Ball looks through the prizes, evaluating the number of cards left. It's still possible to find the Sky Seal Stone. Just fails the Heavy Ball.
I don't have any turns left, so
Just saying, yeah, I don't have any turns left. Do you really want to shuffle my prize cards?
And Marnie is the play. That cross switcher that was in the hand is going back into the deck, down to the bottom rather.
Marnie is going to draw every card in the deck except for 1 here for Alex. Or I guess 2.
5 cards. And there's the stone. Scoop up net being used on the Radiant Greninja. Makes some bench space.
Paralyzing Bolt, so just passes the turn.
And this is the final turn for Sackett Brehmer. There's no Path to the Peak in play, but he's still item locked. The Paralyzing Bolt's just been going back and forth.
And Alex has game in hand. If he had 1 more turn, I think he's going to show him, I have the Galarian Zigzagoon, Sky Seal Stone, and the double cross switcher. How is this going to shake up? As of right now, it is a tie, but Alex showing game in hand. And Sackett is giving it to him. Alex Schemanske making it into top 8 here, 35 match points in exciting fashion for sure.
Incredibly stressful game coming down to the wire. Both players in a situation where they have to take a massive risk. If you have this card, it blows me out of the water. If you have Path of the Peak, I'm done. If you have Sky Seal Stone right this moment, I'm done. And somehow both players managed to just whiff on that continuously. And then once it finally came down to time in the round, we have the concession so that Alex can get into top 8. He had game in hand. It just came down to that +3 turn scenario. We saw the paralysis that he experienced right as the clock was ticking down. If there was just a little bit more get up and go with the boss announced, maybe he would have had those 2 turns, but just an amazing set regardless. For it to come down to a best of 3, trying to get your winning in, and in such a dynamic matchup where there's so many explosive plays on the line. What a rush.
I have to give it to Sackett, Brehmer. Just amazing sportsmanship, able to honor their agreement, and still an amazing tournament for him as well, ending up in the top 16, top 32, depending on how tiebreakers work out. But what a match. Sky Seal Stone showing that it is a card that you need to be on the lookout for, and paired with that Drapion V, anything is possible.
We also